So can you talk a little bit more about the role, what the day-to-day really looks like what the responsibilities are for people that have seen the acronym, but they're not really sure what an LNC does?
So, a legal nurse consultant is an RN. So, there's two types of legal nursing. You have your behind the scenes legal nurse consultant, and you have expert witness legal
Mm.
nursing. So, the legal nurse consultant behind the scenes, what that person does is they either work for the attorney and develop work product for the attorney, or they work for a nurse who already has an attorney client. There's an attorney in the equation somewhere, whether you're working for a company or for another nurse. But what you are doing is whenever there is a medical malpractice or a product liability, which is like your mass torts or personal injury cases, there are medical records involved. And so you are going in the medical records and really using your assessment and critical thinking skills to pick through those records and find the pertinent information to what the patient's complaint is. There's a document actually called the complaint. It's the very first thing that is sent by the plaintiff's attorney. And that generally has a section that tells the story of what they think went wrong, what the patient's story is of what went wrong. And so both sides will request records. And what the LNC does is you look at that complaint, figure out where to start, and you dive through the records to review them and see, is the story true? Is it right? What supports it? Is it a wrong story? Did none of those things happen at all? So you're really using that and just using your assessment skills to go through the medical records to be quicker through them than the attorney would be, because the attorney's not used to looking at, electronic records from the hospital unless they've been doing this a really long time. And then I feel like nurses will find that little needle in the haystack in those records just because they're used to looking at the charting, and it could be something that the attorney doesn't even know is, that it's that.
Hmm. No, that's
They
a
could
great
totally
point
miss
that
it.
we're always used to looking at that screen already. We're already in that mindset. So they might be looking at labs, vitals, nursing notes, that type of thing, and just pulling out the story. Do they have to have a deep background in the legal world too?
No. So
Hmm.
you just need, I mean, technically, if you're looking at it on paper, you don't need a class at all. However, there's more and more people going into the LNC world. And so what I'm seeing is that people who hire them want them to have a basic certificate course. And
Mm.
it doesn't need to be thousands of dollars. You just need something basic that has your basic legal principles in it. Okay. And so you need that to get started. You need a work product to get started, because most people are going to ask you for a sample work product. So typically they want to see you go through some medical records, even if you make up something to develop a chronology and a summary. They want to see your writing skills and
Okay.
if you're actually pulling out pertinent information. So these are things that I supply for my nurses so that they are set up and ready to go when they're ready to apply for jobs.
Love it. So it's kind of like when you're a medical writer and you need your portfolio and it's your best works written in there. They want to understand that you know how to do it because it sounds like a dense job at times. So they want to be able to trust that you know how to actually do it. And it sounds like it might be a little bit of a time crunch sometimes too, maybe.
Yes, it can definitely have a time crunch on it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So, as far as day to day life, it really depends on if you're working from home. So, if you work for a law firm, sometimes that is all in office. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
hybrid, like they'll let you work from home,
Hmm.
but you'll go in 1 to 2 days a week. If
Okay.
you have an LLC and you're working for an attorney, that is all remote. If you're subcontracting for another nurse, that's all remote. So your days are going to look like which path you actually choose. And that's why I like being remote because it's flexibility of time. Like nobody's telling me I have to work 9 to 5,
Hmm.
and typically they don't. Some law firms are kind of rigid with that, um, but not all of them. I feel like it's more minor than more because they know this is a remote job. They know it's a flexibility of time job. And you really have to figure out how to be disciplined when you're working from home because that really is an adjustment. When you come from the hospital or a job that you're clocking in and out of, it's really an adjustment to come home and make yourself work, when nobody is actually supervising that part. So your day to day is going to look however you structure it.
Yeah, I always have this joke. So medical writing, health writing is the same thing. And I always have this joke that like my baseboards have never been cleaner when I have a deliverable due in the next like 2 days. Like I'm scrubbing things that I didn't even know need to be scrubbed, because I am trying to put off that deliverable. So yeah, you
Yeah.
absolutely need to kind of be on yourself when you're a remote worker, owning your own business because most people aren't like checking in to see how you're doing.
Yeah.
They want that like deadline. So yeah, I'm like my own worst enemy with that. I definitely make my deadlines, but it's tough for me sometimes.